Welcome everyone to Bonifabcustom. Today we're doing some modifications to a Honda Sabre motorcycle. We're actually modifying the rear section, the fender. We're going to build a brand new fender and modify the stock seat. And if you've always wanted to do that to your Honda Sabre, to change that part of it, check out this video. We're going to start right now and look into how we can fabricate and modify the Honda Sabre. So if we take a closer look at the tail section of the Honda Sabre, it's very bulky right now, and the fender is actually attached to the frame. So what we're thinking of doing is we want to make this a little more slick. So we're going to make a brand new seat pan, a low profile seat, smaller, and we're going to take out this original fender, and we're going to build a fender that attaches to the swing arm that hugs the rear tire. And we're going to build this all out of sheet metal. So the first thing we want to do is start taking it apart and looking at what needs to be done to build this rear fender. Let's get into it. So now that we have the panels off, we can see just about what we need to do. Now, the seat is going to be shortened. So the seat's going to come out to about where this support is, but it will be a little bit lower profile because the fender is going to come right tightly against this rear tire. So what I'm thinking is we are going to cut this subframe, and we're going to probably cut it around this area here. Just mark that a little bit. Probably around here. And that's going to still support the seat here. We can still bolt it in. The actual seat pan, it's going to sit a little bit tighter to the frame here. And we should be able to put that back fender against there, and it's going to be supported now by the swing arm. So we need some sort of room in here for the tire and the fender to move in behind that seat. So now I have the subframe cut, and I'm going to rough out a piece of metal for the fender. Now to do that, I use some corrugated cardboard. Now this is the type that only has the solid cardboard on one side, and you can see the corrugated on the other, and this makes it easier for it to bend around contours instead of doing it with some sort of hard cardboard. And the fender is going to go somewhere like this. And my customer wants it somewhere midway, maybe a little lip that comes up. And it's gonna, I'm gonna have some lights on there too. So I'm just gonna line this up with the bottom of the swing arm. And so we draw this fender somewhere around here. Okay. And I'll cut that out. Something like that. Do that, something right there. Okay, so now I have my basic shape, and I can cut this out of my aluminum. So now I have my part bent, and you can see the radius here follows the radius of the wheel. And what I'm going to do now is I want to make a radius going the other way with the profile of the wheel, so it hugs the wheel. And the way to do that is with my English wheel. Now you can see there's a smaller wheel on the bottom and a bigger wheel on top. And this one here, there's different profiles of this wheel. This one forces the sheet metal to take a tighter radius. So let's put it on the English wheel and let's see if we can get this radius to follow the tire. So now that I hammered it, I need to shrink in the sides, and I'm going to do that with this machine called a shrinker. Now this one here is like a combo. It has a shrinker and a stretcher, and what we're doing is we're tucking in these sides of this fender, and you can see I started it already, and now I'm starting to get that nice contour. So I'm going to shrink it a bit more on all three here sides, and then I'm going to put it back on the English wheel to smoothen it out a little bit more. So you can see how nice the shape came out now. Has a good curve to it. Now I need to trim. This is going to be the part you're going to see on the fender, and we're going to trim that, and we're going to put a radius on there. So now I have the stock seat here, and I'm going to modify it. So I'm going to take this strap off and start taking these staples out, and I can see what's underneath there that I can start to cut and reuse. So now after I plastic welded it, look at that beautiful bead on there. It's terrible. But when you plastic weld, you're not making a bead like welding metal. It just needs to be fused together, both sides. So I used my handy soldering iron and I squeezed it between both and mixed the plastic between both, and it makes a really strong bond. And now you can see the angle is changed and it's nice and strong now. Before, when I just heated it up here, I just couldn't get it to stay down far enough. So I needed to make those cuts and plastic welded. So let's take a look at what it looks like on the bike. Okay, so it takes that profile way better, really nice, close to that frame now. It's not sticking up like it was before. It's a lot closer to the fender. So now I can put the seat on, and I need to make a bracket for this light. The light's gonna go somewhere like this. And I gotta do a little bit of fitting on here. Fit this light, make a bracket for it, put the foam in, and cover the seat back up. So we have our sheet metal fender all fabbed up, and we're gonna fit it to the swing arm. We gotta build a couple of brackets for it, and we have our modified seat pan now that we have to put some foam on and finish that off. Stay tuned for our next video where we finish off the bike. And thanks again for all your support, and don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you later on with the part 2 of the Honda Sabre modification.